The title of this video is Soul Healing Meditation to Release Pain and Blocks. And it is a discussion, a process, and a meditation. You can listen and follow along, or follow like a guided meditation. All spiritual paths, practices, and meditations come down to one thing. And you may be surprised at the answer that I'm going to give you, but here's a hint. It's said that the final step to enlightenment comes by grace. That is, you do not do it on your own. So grace is a clue to the answer that I'm looking for, because like grace, all the preparations, practices, and work that you do that lead you to the door, but of yourself, you do not go through. So you can think of it as an ability to receive grace, or your ability to open yourself to receive and integrate the presence of your own soul. The key here is your ability to receive. Now, you might at first think that this is an easy thing to do, but whether you believe it or not, this is actually a skill or a trait or a quality that you have to learn. It takes practice, and it is really important that you make receiving a foundational cornerstone for all of your spiritual work. The problem lies in the fact that it's common to put restrictions on what you think you can receive or what you believe you can receive. Now, you might think this is pretty obvious and simple, and you may wonder why I would even devote an entire video to the subject, but I'll tell you it's huge, and it's fundamentally one of the most important subjects that I could ever talk about. Whatever spiritual or healing practices you're doing, the key to the benefits come through your ability to receive. If some aspect of you is restricting or blocking the receiving, maybe through fear or unworthiness or disbelief or some other block or a limitation, then you shut out the benefits to the degree you are closed down to receiving. This video is about receiving healing and clearing of blocks and limitations with the soul's frequency of love. What is most needed to bring healing and qualities that make life what you want it to be is love. Now, that's a word that everybody's heard, and everybody thinks they know something about it. But the love that I'm talking about here is not the kind that you see in movies or romantic love. It's what the soul itself is actually made of. So it's a big key to being able to receive this love into the blocks, into the pain, into the struggling, suffering, and limitations, without any restrictions on receiving. You want to be fully open to receive 100%, because it's what's going to do the clearing and the healing. The areas of your life that are not filled with soul level love are the areas where you have struggle and suffering, confusion, feeling stuck, feeling blocked, and any other area that isn't working as a positive flowing experience. It's quite common to have fears around receiving love, because most people have not had great experiences with receiving love from other people. So this causes them to shut down even to the soul and its qualities of love. And in addition, no one has actually received love and acceptance the way they would like it to be. It's just a fact of life on this planet. This particularly speaks to the fact that you are not really taught about love, and especially the spiritual aspects of the soul's nature of love. So you form your ideas and conclusions about love, maybe from the way that you see it expressed in your home, where you grew up, or maybe from books or movies or magazines or TV. But there are actually very few role models to look to that depict lives of lasting, supportive, unconditional love. So it's natural to be a little bit unsure of what it is that you're looking for and wanting. You learn as you grow up and you form conclusions about what you are experiencing and what you observe others experiencing. You gather information through the five senses, and then you file it away in your memory banks for some future reference if something comes up that triggers the memory. A place to begin learning about opening to receive the healing soul frequency of love is through the heart center. Because through the heart center, you can access most of the issues that are blocking you. And so as you clear issues and blocks in the heart chakra area, everything spiritual can open up. Why? Because this is the area where you can most easily access your soul. And the soul is made out of love. And the soul is what does the deepest healing. So you can begin doing this right now as you continue listening to me. And you start by putting your attention on what is called your heart center, in the center of your chest. This is above where the physical heart is. And when you acknowledge the soul presence in this area, you request to open the door to your soul. And the soul has always been there since you were born. The door to your inner space is through the soul, through the heart center. And what enables you to open this door is your willingness to surrender your resistance to your beliefs that have led to struggling and loss, and also any negative emotions that you might have gotten triggered by. Now, I'm not talking about giving up your beliefs, just this painful part of you and the painful triggers and reactions that seem to be unresolvable. But the mind will only give up and release something that it's holding on to if it is shown a good reason to do that, or a better way to do that, or you give it permission to do that. And in order to do this, you must be willing to open yourself to another experience than what you've had up until this point. Your mind is a survival mechanism, and it only operates through the five senses, and it's driven by safety and security needs. But underlying those basic needs are a whole variety of fear mechanisms, such as worry, anxiety, self-doubt, guilt, feeling vulnerable. Now, every mind ultimately believes it has truth. It believes it's right. In fact, the mind has a very strong need to believe that it is right. And that's why people are very defensive about their beliefs. If your mind thought it was wrong to believe something, then it would look for something else that it thought might be right. And this is how it arrived where it is today with its beliefs. It's always sorting through threat values and new information. The problem comes when the mind is stuck on what it believes out of fear of making a mistake or fear of getting something wrong, and fear that something will lead to pain and suffering. And therefore, because the mind has a need to be right, it is also afraid of being wrong. So it wants to hold on to what it's familiar with, even if what it's holding on to isn't getting it everything it wants with its beliefs. So you've got to be a little careful about how you approach this. You want to be gentle with your mind. You want to show it there's another way that can bring it what it's been seeking. Now, what the mind doesn't know is how to look inside, because it operates through the five senses. So it doesn't know how to do an inner attunement. And this is where your free will and conscious choice comes in. You make a request to begin connecting with the soul at the core of your being. And you do that through the heart center. And you find this is where love and peace reside, not outside. Love and peace can certainly manifest in various forms outside of you, but they're most importantly accessed from within. So, to find peace, love, healing, fulfillment, and happiness, you start by being willing to let go of the things you aren't, which the mind thinks you are. Now, what do I mean by this? You are not your emotions. You are not your opinions. You are not your judgments. You are not your perceptions. You are not even your thoughts and beliefs. All those things form what you have formally identified yourself with. I know that. But they are also the things that have prevented you from experiencing the deep love and realizations of what you are. I'm speaking of the soul. So let's begin to really let go. Pay some particular attention to what you want to hold on to. What I mean by that are places where you have been wounded in the past. So these would be difficult memories, perhaps painful memories of someone who let you down or somebody who hurt you. And what you do is you turn and face it. You face the difficulty that is challenging you. You acknowledge that events happened, and you hold the memory and the feelings in your heart center. Most people have a natural tendency to avoid looking at pain. But to heal from pain, you need to address it. So you do that by bringing to mind a memory of an issue that is blocking you or causing you some pain. And in this process that you are describing, the next thing you want to do is have mercy and compassion on yourself for what you went through, while you simultaneously hold an opening to allow a healing presence to emerge in your heart center. It also helps to recognize that whatever initiated the event or this issue is past. So it's really just a memory. It's not happening to you at this very moment. And you also acknowledge that you're willing to let go now in the present moment. So the key to this process is 4 simple steps. First, as I've already said, you face the painful memory and you acknowledge it. You don't have to go into all of the painful emotions of it. You just acknowledge it. You say, oh, I'm aware of that. I remember that. And it was painful. Secondly, you have compassion on yourself for what you suffered. Now, let me give you an example. If you saw a little child that you're close to, and he or she hurt him or herself, your heart would open and you would naturally want to comfort the child. Well, similarly, having compassion and love for yourself is a key to your healing. The third step is just to be willing to let go of the pain and the conclusions around this issue. Now, at this point, you don't need to know how to do this. You just say, yes, I am willing to surrender and release the need for these painful feelings and beliefs. Yes, I am willing to surrender and release the need for the painful feelings and beliefs. Now, you may think you are certainly ready to let go, but realize there must be some part of you invested in holding it, or the block and the pain wouldn't be there. So say to yourself, I am willing to surrender and let go of the need for this. And now we enter the fun stage of the healing. Stay in your heart center And imagine a ball of golden and white light about the size of a baseball in the center of your chest. This represents an anchor point of your soul in your body. And then ask the soul to fill the memory with its light. Now, you don't need to actually see this happening in your mind, because your intention and request are sufficient to make it happen. You simply call to your soul to merge into whatever memory that you're aware of. And you can repeat these words to activate the process. I ask the highest enlightened awareness of the soul to merge and integrate fully and deeply into this memory. Now, when I said in step 3 to be willing to surrender and let go, I was referring to letting go of all the anger, resentment, fear, worry, hatred, depression, blame, and any other negative reactions that you might have had. These are all defenses that you created when you were afraid of being attacked. Attack in the form of, let's say, being criticized, or blamed, or judged, or betrayed, or victimized, or hurt in any way. A key to healing is by allowing the pain and the suffering to be dissolved by the love and light presence of the soul. In fact, healing and clearing is an art of opening to the pain and blocks that cover the deep love within. I'll repeat that. Healing and clearing is an art of opening to the pain and blocks that cover the deep love within. You see, that deep love is there. The soul is always inside of you. It's there. It's actually present all around you and through you. But you're not usually aware of it because something is covering it. And that is the pain and the blocks. Fear and anger are the two most common blocks in that doorway that leads you to the deeper connections and aspects of your soul. So they're a good place to start. As you hold your attention on the issue, you call to your soul and the light of the soul to dissolve the energy that's tied up in the pain and struggle. You see, the pain in the memories is sustained by using your life force energy. Did you know that? So if you have a lot of negative emotions, they are draining off your life force energy all the time to sustain them, to keep them alive, even if they're not activated. So this could be one reason why you might feel deeply drained and fatigued at times. So you are calling on your own higher aware self, the soul, and bringing in the light of healing, which releases and dissolves the negative emotional content of the pain, and it replaces it with the soul's love and light. Bring up a memory of whatever you sense has caused you to react negatively recently. It's probably something someone said or did, or maybe something they failed to do. Next, take the feelings associated with that and any beliefs that you have about it. So maybe the anger, resentment, or even hatred or revenge, or perhaps it's a fear of loss or a fear of rejection. You get in touch with that first. And then in one sentence, what do you believe about this? That would be something like, I believe this person is wrong and has no right to do this to me. Now, next, repeat in your mind. I call to the highest enlightened awareness of the soul to merge into all of these feelings and beliefs. I call upon the peace and love of the soul to wash me free of my limiting beliefs and reactions. I call upon the peace and love of all the healing angels to wash me free of my limiting beliefs and reactions. I call upon the peace and love of all the healing angels to wash me free of my limiting beliefs and reactions. In response to these requests, imagine the golden and white light in the center of your chest is expanding, and it's radiating its pure healing light through your entire body, up through the upper chest, up through and around your head, and down through your torso, down around your feet, and even below your feet, filling your aura. And as you do that, you'll begin to notice a new peaceful presence emerging. And it opens up a spaciousness and a sense of freedom and lightness. Now, I know the first few times you do this, you may not feel a lot, but this doesn't mean that nothing is happening because you're operating with subtle energies. And so there's a reason why they're called subtle energies. And so it sometimes, and maybe usually, takes some practice before you actually feel anything. So don't be too worried about that if you don't sense anything. The mind will often then doubt that anything is happening. It will doubt the process. It may even think you're doing it wrong or that you're doing something dangerous because it doesn't understand what you're even trying to do. But none of those things are true. There, in fact, is no wrong way to do this. If you're just following along, that is sufficient. So let's repeat the two statements again and notice any internal response you have to the requests with any sensation that you might notice. I call upon the peace and love of the soul to wash me free from my limiting beliefs and reactions. I call upon the peace and love of the soul to wash me free of my limiting beliefs and reactions. I call upon the peace and love of all the healing angels to assist me in releasing and dissolving my limiting beliefs and reactions. I call upon the peace and love of all the healing angels to assist me in releasing and dissolving my limiting beliefs and reactions. You may sense a deepening of a peaceful presence. That's probably the most common sensation that people notice. Generally, there are some inner voices attached to every perception. These voices hold beliefs and judgments and opinions about every one of your experiences in your entire life. So they may conclude something like this: I am not good enough. This might be dangerous. You're making a mistake. You are not worthy. You're doing it wrong. You must be. Nobody is there for me. God has abandoned me. These are just some of the more common voices I've often heard, but there are literally thousands of others that are unique to you and your circumstances. So just make basically like a note of them. You don't have to do anything with them at this point. You note them, you kind of put them back in your memory banks when they come up, and you can even affirm you're releasing them and dissolving them into the light. So just like you're wanting and willing to let go of the issue, also verbalize to yourself that you are letting go of the need for your voices. You can say to yourself, I am willing to release the need for this voice now. And take a moment to do this. You see, healing is actually a process of allowing your own creations to dissolve and be replaced by a deeper truth that flows from your heart and soul. Healing is the process of allowing your own creations to dissolve and be replaced by a deeper truth that flows from your heart and soul. Now think about this. Most of what you want to let go of was created unwittingly. You didn't do it on purpose. And it's likely that you may not have even remembered when or how it happened. Or if it was something that someone else did to you, they did it to you. You weren't out there trying to get them to do it to you. It happened. And you got triggered and you created your reactions in a pattern that automatically sits there in your memory, just waiting to be activated by something that triggers it. They arise out of a need for more security and more safety. So these are coming from subconscious programs trying to protect you. But they're actually causing problems. They're not solving anything. So as long as you are willing to let go of the pain, you're willing to let go of the suffering, the struggling, and whatever the conflict and judgment is about it, you can move into a more fulfilling and happy place. For one thing, whatever caused the situation is in the past. The past is gone. It does not exist other than in your memory. And you can let go and dissolve the pain of the memory. That's what we started doing. And we're going to go in deeper. The reason the ego personality holds on to these things is it believes that it might need them in the future to keep you safe and enable you to feel more secure. This is probably most obvious with fear. Fear is designed to keep you away from something dangerous. And the ego mind has its primary motivation of safety and security. That's what the ego is most concerned with. And fear is the primary method it uses to try to keep you safe and secure. But what the ego doesn't know is the soul can take care of you far better than any coping strategy or emotion that the ego can create. So make the commitment in your heart right now that anything you have created and carried with you that is not from the goodness of your soul, you're willing to let it go and dissolve. For instance, be willing to let go of situations or people who made you angry or upset. Yes, it may have hurt, and maybe it hurt a lot at the time, but why do you keep hurting yourself over and over by continuing to own it and rehash it? Be willing to let go of your past. It's past. Get in touch with what that means. A total letting go and releasing of every thought and feeling in order to receive a deep experience of the underlying soul reality. You see, in order to really experience the soul, you have to be willing to let go and dissolve everything that's covering it up. And most of what is covering it are painful things. So you embrace the painful memories by calling to your soul to merge into the darkness, the density, the struggling, the pain. And you allow yourself to fill with the natural love and light of your healing soul. And when the soul comes in, it comes in with a very brilliant light. It's actually so bright that if you tried to look at it with physical eyes and you actually saw how bright it is, it would be very difficult to look at. You'd be squinting. So you made a request, and now allow yourself to receive the gifts. When you make the request, the answer is automatic, and you find relief in the form of peace. Your request brings a washing away or a cleansing of the pain and brings in something wonderful. And if you're wondering what that is, it is a very deep, peaceful, calm expansion, and it allows you to float in lightness. And you might feel a lightness of being. You may feel a good feeling inside, like a blissfulness even, or a euphoria. Some people feel that. Everyone does experience this a little bit differently, and there's many ways to experience happiness and joyfulness. So just allow yourself to receive what's being sent in whatever form it comes and whatever way you're feeling it or noticing it. And this will be much more noticeable when you do this in a meditative state. Now, letting go of your past may seem like you're dissolving some part of your identity of who you think you are. And this very idea sometimes causes the ego to pull back in fear that it's losing something of value. But what is feared never happens. You don't lose anything of value. You retain your full awareness. In fact, you sense and experience an expansion, not a contraction. You will never feel like you're losing something other than the pain and the struggle. So it's perfectly safe to let yourself float in the soul's light and presence. There is absolutely no loss in this process. It's a process about receiving the awareness of the soul's deepest truth, which is what you are at your deepest core. Say to yourself, I'm ready to let go of all negative emotions. I'm ready to receive the peaceful soul presence. I am ready to open myself to receive and accept the deepest peace. I'm ready to open myself to receive and accept the deepest peace. You are now setting your attention and intention to receive the support of God, the universe, all creation, and your soul source. And you might think that you're the one doing this, but actually Your soul is behind the orchestration of this entire process. What you are doing is getting out of the way and allowing yourself to receive the soul's gifts that await you. So just relax. Sit back and trust you are receiving all you have requested. Your soul, angelic beings, and God all have a desire to help you. It's the very nature of the process. So just deepen into your trust in receiving. Now, there's two ways to approach the clearing. Both of them are important. The first one identifies you with something that needs transforming, which means the ego and the pain. But these are thought forms, a complex creation projection that isn't real. It's kind of like a movie from your past. And you usually only release what you're able to identify. And so this part of the process is identifying and describing the issue or the pain as a starting place. But then you take a step further. The second part of the process is the way of surrender in which you allow yourself to open your awareness more fully to receive and embrace your healing soul and light. This is a purification process through merging with the light of the soul. The two aspects of clearing are important. Depending on what you ask for and how you ask for it is going to determine the nature of the answers you receive. So learning to refine the questions and the requests also refines the answers and the responses that you receive. And there can be very fine, subtle differences with the answers you get, depending on how you're wording the question. But you keep doing this, and this leads to a deeper healing and block clearing. So here, say these words. I ask the fully enlightened presence of my soul to merge into me and to fill me with pure light. I ask the fully enlightened presence of my soul to merge into me and fill me now with pure light. So you want to allow the light of the soul to stream through your whole body from head to toe. Notice how the healing light is kind of like water in the way it works its way through you deeper and deeper until it finds its way into all of the little cracks and crevices and cleans the places you didn't even know existed. You make the request and you set something in motion. And so there really is no doing in this process. It's a receiving process. The soul love is its own light and its own intelligence. The soul is an intelligent force, and it moves where it is needed. And what you have been doing is simply relaxing any resistance to allow it to move in, to dissolve, to let go, to transmute, and bring in whatever gifts it has for you. Your job is simply to be open to receive, to release, to wash and dissolve, and allow the soul to penetrate and merge deeper and deeper. As the soul moves through you, It has the nature, automatically, of dissolving beliefs that cause pain and suffering. And this includes healing painful memories and emotions that have been holding you in painful repeating patterns. Let the soul's love and light release you. Let it dissolve the mental and emotional prisons. Let yourself be cleared of all the anger and frustrations. And all you have to do is receive the soul. Receive the soul into all the feelings of being hurt and being put down and criticized or rejected by others. Can you now see how receiving is so important and why I said at the beginning of this video, all spiritual paths, practices, and meditations come down to one thing: receiving. Let yourself receive the deepening presence of your soul to wash, to dissolve, to eliminate, and bring light and presence to the areas that are dense and heavy and dark. And receive the clearing deeper and deeper. And let the love and the soul's light do what they do. Allow them to embrace you, to absorb into you, and say yes to receiving the healing love and light very deeply now. And now, because there is intelligence within the soul's love presence, ask the deep love to wash away, to dissolve, to eliminate any emotional pain and all the causes of suffering, struggling, or feeling blocked. I'll guide you with some words to say. I now call to the angels of purification, and I ask them to wash me clean, even from the hidden places. I now call to the angels of purification and ask them to wash me clean, even from places that are hidden. I open my heart to accept the full divine essence of my soul's divine reality. I embrace divine love and light from head to toe. I surrender, release, and give up all holding on, all blocks, and all need for suffering. I surrender, release, and give up all holding on, all blocks, and all need for suffering. And now feel into your heart center and sense what has happened to you. You might notice you're more relaxed, there's more peace, more beauty, and if you are a little bit more sensitive to subtle energy, you might perceive more light, more love, and more presence. You'll tend to feel lighter, cleaner, brighter, and more radiant, because within you is the dawning of the essential light of God in your heart. This is the pinnacle of the human experience. You are the holy jewel carrying this precious light inside of you. Receive the light so that the divine radiance inside of you can expand and diffuse all through the inner sanctums of your being like a beautiful fragrance. And this is a process that reveals the soul. It reveals who you deeply are. It is your true nature, well past and beyond your personality. This is a practice that opens doors that have long been shielded, even hidden and closed. And it brings and spreads the truth of love and light through your entire being. And this is why the angels are singing for joy as you open yourself to the healing light of your soul. You're awakening. You are actively participating in your own revelation and resurrection and ascension. You are being blessed with words of love and beauty written into the very soul. And that quality brings more and more good things to you. So just drink this in deeply and express gratitude for what you're being given today. And then allow yourself to come fully present, bringing all of the soul connections with you into your present moment, into your full, normal, awakened state, with gratitude and thankfulness, even if you are only aware of a small fragment of what this process guided you to experience. Be thankful for even what you aren't aware of that this has done for you. As you are thankful from your heart, you'll realize gratitude is a door opener that will take you further. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Parker.